What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Cork. I am your host, Eric Rocha. How are you? How you doing? You doing all right? You eating okay? Good. My guest today is the one and only Josh Potter. You can find Josh on Twitter at J_Potter, Potter. Josh is one of my favorite people. He's amazing. And in this interview, it's great because I love him. You can never ask him a straight question. He will answer in his own goddamn time, and I love that about him. I absolutely love that because he will give you 3 solid jokes before he gets around to answering your question. And to me, that's what a good comic does. Anyways, check out this episode. Check out some dates. Listen, if by any chance, I know we're a new podcast, if by any chance you're out of state and you're wondering if Josh is coming to a town near you, look him up at his Twitter. And I'm telling you, if he's in your town, you gotta go see him. Don't sleep on that shit. He's fucking hilarious. Without further ado, here's my friend Josh Potter. Because I didn't get a car until like a couple months ago.
This is my first time not having a car in my whole life.
Really?
Yeah.
So can you still drive or no?
According to the state of New York.
No.
Now, should I be driving? Different question. One that I addressed and decided not to do anymore. Drive, that is.
Was that tough?
Yeah, I mean, well, it wasn't tough in terms of... Are we doing the podcast right now?
Yeah, I'm recording.
I was like, I'll just talk to you not on the microphone if that's... But it was tough in terms of my own independence. But I was like, well, I'm moving to L.A., I'll just figure it out. And Uber's a thing now, and I can utilize that when I have to, and there's public transportation more than in Buffalo. So...
Absolutely.
I could use it as much as I can. And so far, I really haven't come into many snags. I also have a lucky situation where at the studio, a guy I work with lives near me, so we just carpool together.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so it works out great. Yeah, so like some days he can't drive or whatever, so then I just take the bus, or which is fine.
It's funny because especially for the weather, a lot of people don't walk here. And I remember when I lived in New York, it was
Everybody
pathetic.
walks in New York.
I was like... It's the most beautiful fucking weather, and nobody walks here.
Yeah, everybody walks in New York miles, where you say to yourself, oh, that's 2 miles away, that's nothing. Here, you're like, 2 miles, fuck.
Jesus
but in the heat,
Christ.
I get it, but, I mean, I'll Uber. If it's over 2 miles, I'll Uber. Mm-hmm. And then it's like $5, so who cares?
Nice. So with me on the podcast is my buddy, one of the funniest people I know. He's one of my favorite comics. I like talking about him in front of you.
That's nice of you.
Josh Potter, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me. I bought these shitty vapes.
Are you a rum and coke guy?
I mean, I'm an anything guy. I drink beer mostly, to be honest with you, but I'll drink rum and coke every now and again. I don't typically fuck with liquor, though, because it gets me... I can't gauge my... Like, I can drink beers, I feel like, all night, and I'll get full before I get blackout drunk. Whereas liquor, I've had more slippery slopes. Over the years, I've run into a little bit more trouble with the liquor. So I'm like a guy in the 50s who's like, they don't go to rehab or anything. He drinks beer now. That was me. I just took like a 50s rehab approach. Remember that in Mad Men where the guy's like, I forget, it was what's his name, Freddie Muntz or whatever, and he was like, they're like, he pissed his pants before a meeting, and they were like, you gotta go to a place. My dentist, he went to a place in Hazleton, only drinks beer now. That was their version of like rehab.
So
that's me. I just drink beer now usually, but I'll have a fucking drink every now and again. Who cares?
I was gonna say, but you're more of a weed guy, right?
I'm very much more of a weed guy. I like pills too, but for the betterment of myself, I've stopped doing that for the most part. But I'll have, if there's one lying around, I might pick one up. Sometimes you find one on your floor of your bathroom and you're like, what's that? I hope it's fun.
You take it and it's
Yeah,
just
see what happens.
see what goes down.
Yeah, you just make sure the next couple of days is clear. Because you don't know.
So
It could be an Advil, and it could take you on a ride.
I like that you don't know whose pills are on the ground.
It's my pills, but who knows which ones? That's the thing. What was this from? Oh, we'll find out.
I love this because what you guys can't see, noble listeners, is there's a bottle of Extends not too far away from the
Oh,
microphone.
yeah, no, I take this shit all the time. I got a little rendezvous after this. I'm going to take it halfway through the pod so that way it's percolating in my system.
Now it's the liquid.
Yeah, I read some reviews. The liquid is more fast-acting.
Ah.
And I feel like it's more like a 5-hour energy. It has the same ingredients with the boner capabilities too. So I feel like it is like a 5-hour energy, and it's not like more foreign. I feel like the pills have more foreign things inside of them.
Really?
But I could be completely... I'm not a scientist.
I was,
This is all me reading Amazon. So it's regular people like you and I leaving reviews. But hey, I tried it out a couple of times, and they work great. I want to upgrade though. I want to get onto some Cialis or some shit, you know.
wow.
And it's not. And people are like, "Oh, your dick doesn't work" or whatever. And it's like, no, that's not it at all. You know, it's not about a need. You know, it's not about a need to get a boner. Do you ever take dick pills?
I have never taken. I have Extends in my desk in my room, but I've never taken it.
Why not?
I don't know. In my head, it was like a gag gift, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
Oh, what a gag! You mean fruitful sex? It's fun.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's not to say that you need them, but my thing is I typically don't. Yeah, I've never.
It's not about need. It's about
I know, but
desire
here's the thing, and
dude. Did I say this all the time? Did Mark McGwire need to break Roger Maris's home run record? No, he didn't need to do that. But he fucking put a needle in his ass before every game, and then went out there and hit dingers. You know why? Because it's fun.
You know what I wish he would have done? I wish he would have fucked Roger Maris.
She was dead. Long dead. I can't believe Roger Maris still alive when that happened in like
whose
97
wife?
or
Yeah,
something?
wasn't it?
96? When was that? I think Roger
remember
Maris, they'd drag him out and he'd be like, great, my record's dying before I do. Cool.
No, because remember he wanted to hold the bat.
And
McGuire
then
did.
Oh, yeah, he wanted
You remember
to
he
hold
wanted to
Roger
hold
Maris's
the bat,
bat. Yeah.
and he went over to the Maris family.
Right, and Roger
That's-
was dead then.
That's he
Okay,
was
good.
dead. That's what I was saying.
I didn't want him to see alive to see his record get bastardized by
Fuck
some
no.
guy putting a needle in his fucking ass.
But that's what I'm saying. It would have been the coup d'etat would have been if McGuire would have fucked Maris. Mrs. Maris.
that would have been that would have been really. See what I'm doing to her? Bring it. Couldn't do this, Roger.
Well,
With your
while holding the bat.
fucking limp wrist.
Okay, so this transitions beautifully into the compliment and the thing I want to talk to you about.
All right.
I am always stunned at how incredibly articulate you are about some of the darkest fucking material. But I love it. Like, I feel like we bonded really when I heard you talking about Take the Hit.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm blasting your
No, you're
fucking
all
thing
right.
out. Oh, I just watched it again this past weekend, actually, because I don't know, because I've been seeing all this stuff about Spade's new show, and I was like, I wonder if Take the Hit's still on HBO Go. And it is.
It is.
It's awesome.
I remember you were talking about that outside Fourth Wall, and I remember hearing, and I finished like a bit that you were talking about, and I was like, oh fuck! I grew up watching it so many times, and then you took off on it too. Like, we were talking about just about everything in that special.
Yeah, dude, and I'm not like a guy, I couldn't tell you jokes off any other comedy special, which is so, like, because I just didn't really care about watching them, and I liked comedy and stuff. I liked watching it live, but when it was like on TV and stuff, it felt like it was missing something. It was like I didn't feel like I was really there, or something was just missing, and I didn't like watching specials. And but that one, I don't know why, maybe because of when I watched it or something, and maybe because of who it is, because I love David Spade so much. but I just always like cite and like bring up the jokes for it. It's like the only special that I'll ever like recant jokes from.
It is,
Even just in everyday life.
It is so good. I mean, from the beginning to the end, too.
Yeah, and I mean, even when I watched it just this past weekend, you see some things where you're like, because I've listened to him do interviews about his stand-up and some things or whatever, and you know the parts that he hates, and then you go like, okay, I see why he hates that now in 2019. Like, it's literally 25 years or some shit like that. Like, the fucking opening song is In the Meantime by fucking, who's that band? I don't even know. It's like, ooh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
In the meantime, what the fuck is that band? I should know that. I played them on the radio for a million years.
Yeah, you started when you were 16 in radio, right?
Yeah.
What was your first job?
On the radio?
Yeah.
Well, I got like a sales internship when I was 16.
Okay, so that was a 16 opening.
Yeah, and then I got, I knew the producer of the morning show. My aunt was like his Boy Scout leader or some shit like that, or Cub Scout leader. So like she told me that while I had a internship. So I was like, well, I love that morning show and I want to be a part of it. So I'm gonna, like, he produces the morning show. I'm just gonna be like, hey, my aunt knows you. He'll definitely like let me have an internship then. And so I wrote him this like email saying how much I love the show and that my aunt is so and so. And he was like, sure, come and have a meeting or whatever. So I already was in the building, so I just went down the hall or whatever and had a meeting with him one time. And he let me come in and watch a few shows and hang out. And I really didn't do anything. I just sat in a chair and no one talked to me. I just watched, and it was the coolest thing ever. And then time went on, and I was like, I want to do this every day. He's like, just watch it or whatever. And I was like, I want to be an intern, you know. And he was like, well, you're in high school. You got to go to school. So go to school. And then in the summertime, you can be an intern. So I waited. I went to school. This was like junior year. And then that summer between junior and senior year, I was an intern for them. And just like the nature of the business is shit falls through the cracks all the time. So if you're a guy who just like picks up those things that falls through the cracks, you're going to get hired. And so like I just got hired on accident, basically. They didn't know my age, I don't think. And then they were like also fudging some of the numbers to like, as far as my hours go. Like when I first came on, they were giving me 40 hours, but I wasn't working 40 hours kind of thing. It was like, I don't know. It was weird. I was working way more than 40 hours. But so eventually like the school year came about, and I was like, I have to go back to high school. And they're like, wait, what? And so they were like, well, we were going to offer you this job on the morning show. So I went into my school and I talked to my guidance counselor, and he let me like switch all my classes to be afternoon.
No shit.
So I had to take like 2 exams in September, like final exams in September, but they were for bullshit, like keyboarding or some other horse shit. And so I did that, got those class credits or whatever, and then he shuffled all my classes to the end of the day. So I was working every morning from like 6 a.m. until like 10 or 11, and then going to school.
That's an amazing guidance counselor.
No, totally. I owe that guy my fucking life right now. No lie. But I wish I could. His name was like Mr. Gervais. I don't know, because here's the shitty part. Like, I had the same guidance counselor all the way through high school until my senior year. I got a new one. So like, I feel like I'm lucky because this guy came in. He didn't know me from shit, and he was like, "That's cool. I'll help you with that." And yeah, man, I wouldn't have had that job if it wasn't for him. That's for sure.
What do you think the radio taught you in terms of stand-up? How it helped, or did it help?
I'll say that it helped me initially get booked. But aside from that, like in terms of just like speaking, it helped because the whole thing in radio is you're talking to a mass amount of people at once, but you're alone in a room. And the whole thing is to not just be like, everybody, you're not supposed to talk, because the person listening in radio is listening by themselves, or maybe they're in a small group or whatever. But for the most part, they're in their car alone, and they're going to or from work. And so you're speaking to that one guy. You're not speaking to like 50,000 people or whatever it is. So you have to act like you're speaking to one person when you're doing it every time. And I feel like it goes the same way, even though you're in a theater or like in a club where there's hundreds of thousands of people, maybe you're still speaking to like one person, and it resonates more if you take that approach in your like angle on stuff. And so I remember like a program director telling me that, and that came kind of like easy. Once I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. And I made a pretty diligent effort to like focus the way I conduct myself on the air in that way, so that I was speaking to like one guy or girl or whatever it is. And I feel like I took that into my writing and stuff on stage too. So I feel like it helped me there for sure.
It's an amazing thing that you can do it, because I can't, but you did a really fantastic job at the Improv. You headlined, I can't remember which room.
The lab.
Not
the main room, the lab.
But
I made sure to make everyone aware of that.
You filled that fucker out, though.
Yeah, it's 50 people.
It did really good.
It felt good to fill a room of 50 people in a city that I'm not from, and I don't even know 50 people. So that was very cool. All the credit, honestly, goes to Tom Segura, because without him, I would not have been able to do that. It is basically him filling that room by the virtue of his word, and
yeah.
I'm on the podcast now, so that's cool. That's helping, but it's by the grace of him, 1,000,000%. You know what I mean? And like, thankfully, he thinks I'm talented and I'm funny, so that's why he allows me to do that. But I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for him, for sure.
I think what was so great about that night, though, was it was a list of good comics. That it really was a good comedy show. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, I wouldn't put people on a show that I didn't think were funny.
But what was great, though, was it wasn't a list of like, oh, people knew all of these people. It wasn't that. It was comics that probably.
Well, I mean, like, I wanted to pick. First of all, like, it's kind of a dick move to tell a established comic, hey, you want to open for me? Like, that's been out here for a while and that's been doing, like, that would be kind of a shit move on my part.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, like, I was like, well, now, I mean, it's at the Improv. Maybe I can get some people that like don't perform at the Improv very regularly. Some spots that I know are, guys or girls that I know that are funny, and maybe they'll get seen or something,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they get some more spots.
The cool thing that I remember, especially,
but I should say, by the way, I had Maddie Hansen as the host. She's so funny. I think she's one of the funniest people I've seen since I've been out here. And Rob Banks, who I met at the Fourth Wall as well. And he's super funny, obviously. He's become one of my good friends out here. And Doug Mellard, who I knew before I moved out here, because he also opens for Tom. And he was like literally the first person that I hung out with in LA. Oh. So, yeah, those are the people.
Those were your...
Yeah, I just wanted to drop their names because we're talking about them.
Hell yeah. So this is what I thought was amazing about your set that night. And it made me laugh because...
Are you nervous with a blind guy bartending over here? Is that why you're hesitant in your speech? Because I'm just making very deliberate, careful moves.
I'm kind of watching.
But you are probably very nervous.
No, I'm fascinated with...
Spatially, I'm great. I don't make brash movements. I don't knock things over. I can walk in this room in the dark, and like if I bump something, I'm like a Roomba. Like I touch it and then I move away. I don't ever really like collide.
A Roomba?
Yeah, like I touch it very lightly and know that it's there, and then I can move along.
I love that your sips are right next to the mic.
No, I like the ASMR aspect of it. I'm trying to get a grasp on this mic. It's I was just gonna be really nerdy, but I'm trying to like not pop my peas.
Your plosives.
Or blow it out. I've been yelling into it. I feel like an asshole.
You've been good. These are...
I don't have enough bass in my voice. That's why I keep raising it. I feel like I'm talking like a mook. Okay,
so this is something that...
But you were going to say about my set. I don't want to gloss over.
I'm just kidding.
But anyhow, about how great I am. Continue.
What? Why is your foot up? You want me to rub your foot?
I hate compliments too, so I don't know if I even.
No, I know. This is why I love this. So, you're like a comic that they'll never see coming.
Who's that?
You are.
Who's not going to see me?
just an audience, because you have this introverted kind of calmness, but it is so fucking funny. Like, when you come on, you're not like boisterous and like,
No.
hey, how's everybody doing? No, that's why when
I
you
used
said
to
that
be.
about the radio, about how you're talking to one person,
Yeah.
that's very clear in your stand up as well.
Yeah. I'd like to hope so. I used to go on the radio, and like the thing about radio is if you're ever spinning records, which I don't know if anybody even does anymore. I mean, I might have been like the youngest guy to get to do that maybe at this point. I mean, I'm sure there's younger guys doing it, but like it's got to be few and far between. But you have to, every show you do, or maybe like once you're doing a show 5 times a week or whatever, I guess they pick one of those shows. But once a week you sit in an office with your boss who plays your 45-second break in between songs, and he picks it apart and just like dismantles you. So I got used to kind of doing that with my sets in my audio recordings, and kind of doing that to myself, really, and so that helped me revise things, I guess.
It's great. It locks people in.
Yeah.
Like you're the guy that like I'll lean forward to listen to. And that's
a very nice compliment. I don't know if everyone's doing that. Some people are. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on to a degree. But someone said that I have a knack of like saying fucked up things kind of like with a wink and a nod or whatever. So it's like you can get away with more. And that kind of fucked me up because sometimes I kind of have the propensity to write down that path, and it's like people only want to hear so much fucked up shit. So it's like I gotta write about cookies or something a little bit more, like a fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like I wish I had more like jokes about shoes. I don't know.
Are you
something
really?
Sometimes, just to fill in the gaps.
I don't know though,
Because you can't. I mean, because also in terms of just like longevity. You can only write so many jokes about this fucked up thing and that fucked up thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I gotta wait for more fucked up things to happen. What kind of life is that to live?
In that in some cases, yes, but I mean, I think you're shortchanging yourself a little bit into how creative you can get with it, because that's different. It's
what's funny? I try to get benign with it. To be quite honest, I try to like level the things down to be the most basic thing so that people can't get offended by it. You know what I mean? Or it doesn't trigger them the same way it would if someone was being like just sensationalizing. You know what I'm saying? Or like, what's the word? Just being like provocative for the sake of just being a shock person.
See, and yeah, like I said, I don't like shock comics.
Right. I don't either. I hate it. I hate these people.
Don't like it.
I'm edgy. What's the words they use? They use like uncensored or like no
unleashed.
filter. Yeah, unleashed. All that gay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no offense.
No, you're all right.
That shit's gay though. I mean, you could fuck 9 twinks right here on this couch, and I would think someone calling their special like no filter is super gay compared.
You're interrupting the orgy, guys. Look at how gay this is.
Yeah. Guy, look at this fucking special. No filter.
The bad boys of comedy.
Oh my god, there is a tour that's right now doing the bad boys of comedy. They're just Italian guys, of course, but whatever.
But like we've had conversations outside the fourth wall, and I mean you've had me howling. I don't want to burn any of your material.
You're fun to talk
yet.
to. There's no material. I mean, you're fun to talk to. It's fun to joke around with you. Some people, it's funny because some people think I'm an asshole because I don't talk to them or whatever, and it's not like a deliberate thing. It's not like I don't try to talk to everybody, but sometimes I just don't have the bandwidth for certain people, But you're someone I like look forward to seeing. I can just talk to you about whatever, So it's a big difference in certain things. You know? Can you just talk to everybody at the fourth wall?
No.
Yeah.
So we're outside the fourth wall, and I hear Josh talking, and it was about Madonna, and it was specifically, it was about Like a Prayer, and I love that fucking song, and
Yeah,
so
me too.
Josh goes into this. I don't even know if it was a rant because
Well, it was something that happened earlier in that day, right before. I take the subway to the fourth wall, and sometimes you run into some interesting characters. And I was exiting the North Hollywood station of the fourth wall, and this man who was clearly a drug addict. There's plenty of those people on the train. You see them every day. But this one confronted me about my shirt because I had an astronaut on my shirt, and he's like, "We never went there." And I'm like, "Oh, you mean the moon?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Yeah, that's why you wearing that fucking shirt?" And I'm like, "This is an astronaut. He's not indicating the moon. This has nothing to do with the moon landing. This is actually a band's shirt." And he's like, "Whatever you fucking will." And I was like, "Do you want to do this?" I said that to him. We're riding an escalator, by the way. And I'm not a big man. I'm not even a confrontational person. But I was just in a mood where I was like, "Do you want this to happen right now?" And he was like, "I'll fuck you up, man. I'll fuck you up." I walked out of the subway station and I turned around and I just raised my hands like this, I can't describe what this is.
Like Christ on the cross.
Yeah, just kind of let's go. And he put his bag down and he started walking towards me. And I was so ready to murder the guy. If he took a swing at me, I carry a knife with me because, it's LA and I walk around at night. And I had this knife there and I was ready to plunge it into his body if he took a swing at me. I don't know why. But I was ready. And he didn't. He backed down or whatever. And it's not like he backed down. It kind of just, the situation diffused. And I wasn't being aggressive about it. I was just kind of waiting there with my arms open, ready for him to attack me so that I could put this knife into his side and puncture his kidneys or something. And the whole time this was happening, I was listening to Madonna's Like a Prayer. And I told Eric, I fantasized about me just murdering this fucking meth head while that song was playing.
Yeah, you
and
said
just
it was
taking his blood and just wiping it on my face, and just I don't know why. I don't know why I wanted to kill him so bad. I'm not a murderous person. This is a rare thing, and it didn't happen. And I just wanted it to be playing while I'm wiping his blood all over my body, and then the cops show up and they're like, "Freeze, you psycho!" I don't want to yell in here. And I'm just just like a prayer. And they take me down,
There was one point where you had
Drop the knife, you fucking psychopath!
Sergeant, what the fuck do I do?
O'Brien, I need you here. Keep it together, O'Brien.
There's children and shit in the subway.
It was the daytime. But yeah, that was just one rare murderous fantasy I had. And I don't know why. Sometimes you get shit on enough. It was like my falling down moment. I had a few of those in LA.
What a fucking great movie. I'm the bad guy? You could have said that.
I used to wear short sleeve shirts and a tie to my office job, and I shaved a mustache. I had a mustache last year, and I looked like the falling down. I purposely doctored myself up to look like that guy. And that was in LA, right? That movie? Come to think of it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like,
Absolutely.
This fucking heat. That was me. And I remember one guy bumped into me on the street, downtown. After I left work, I'm in a tie and a shirt and everything. I look like a nerd. This guy bumps me and he starts fucking with me. And I did the same thing. I had that same moment where I was like, let's go. I had the knife then. It's the knife, man. That's why I can't get a gun. Because if I had a gun, I would be showing it to everybody. I'd be taking it out and be like, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I got this fucking gun." And that's illegal, I think. From what I understand, that's not responsible as a gun owner to brandish your firearm anytime someone mouths off to you. But with a knife, hey, you can do that. At least I haven't had any troubles.
If any of you are curious, this is exactly how the conversations go outside the fourth wall.
I hope people don't think I'm mean.
We can wrap it up. This is what I want.
I hope people don't think I'm crazy.
You know what gives me hope about about comedy with you
What's that?
is you are probably one of the funniest people to come into Fourth Wall, and you consistently come.
I have to. I don't get sets anywhere else.
So
If you're a club, I need you. Please,
I have
fuck
to-
with me.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I'm gonna play it for you later on, but there was another interview with Mark Normand. I don't know if you heard about this. He mentioned
Mark's my
your
friend.
name. Yeah, he mentioned you on the podcast.
Yeah, I've known Mark for a couple of years now.
And the thing that kills me, though, Josh, I'm not talking shit in any way. You're one of the funniest fucking people that I know.
Oh, thank you.
And it's like, why aren't you in the Comedy Store? Why aren't you in the Improv? Why aren't
There's a
you
long
in?
line. And I knew that when I
say.
came here. I mean, I'm not expecting them to give me, like, knock down the doors and give it to me, give me a paid regular situation or whatever, and I know that I have to, it's going to take a while because there is a long fucking line into these clubs. And the weirdest part, Fourth Wall has become where I've also made some friends. And is it, necessarily productive in my comedy career to spend as much time there as I do? Probably not. But I have made friends there, and it's like I'm still new to LA where I don't have a lot of those. So it's nice to hang out with people I like, and it doesn't always have to be about is the set super productive. And I've also used it in a way where I can force myself, if I want to go out and hang out, then I'll write something that day. And it's because the Fourth Wall is best used when you're saying something for the first time ever, and that's what it should be. And then I can spice in a bar show or a couple sets here and there that maybe I get at the Improv or the store thrown to me or the Ice House, and then I can try them further there. Until those things become more frequent, though, it's tough to add bricks to the the wall. But I'm going out on the road next week, and I don't think that's any indication for if these new jokes are going to be good or not either, because it's I'm going from the Fourth Wall where I can maybe, if I say something for the first time, it's brand new, I can get away with a little bit more because it's all comics and they're a little darker, and you can kind of get away with something that they didn't hear before and maybe not shock them, but it's something they haven't heard before, so they're going to laugh, they're kind of catch them off guard, and they're not going to oh, I heard this one, and then look at their phone or whatever. But in a theater, it's almost the opposite problem, where it's they give you too much leeway because they're all there to laugh. The situation couldn't be better. You can almost do something weaker and get a good enough laugh where you feel fine with it, but you have to recognize it and be well, that was it should have been bigger or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like shooting fish in a barrel in one of those situations. So it's I like a club to give me the gauge, and I remember I did a set at the Ice House a few months ago. It was my first one there ever, and I didn't do great, but either did anyone else. And so that made me feel kind of okay about it. But at the same time, I was really dejected from it. I was well, I went up there pretty weak. You know what I mean? In terms of my resistance towards their resistance,
Yeah.
I should have been able to churn something out of there. And then I went back again 2 weeks or something like that after, and it was completely different because I had more of a different mindset going in or something. I don't know. But it was, the Fourth Wall could be detrimental if you spend too much time there, but it's I don't know. I like being around people I enjoy, and it's just it's been a balance out here in LA, compared to back home.
How often do you bomb?
At the Fourth Wall, I mean,
Well, no, not the Fourth Wall.
I mean, outside of the Fourth Wall, if I'm doing my act, rarely, I guess, anymore. But at the same time, my act is feeling older to me now, and I don't enjoy it as much. And I mean, basically me doing that hour at the Improv was me being okay, what do I have and what do I not have? And what do I need more? Where do I need more or whatever? How many more minutes do I need? So I left there going I need 20 more minutes in my head. And so since then, that was in March, I've been trying to just piece together that new 20 minutes so that when I go back out on the road again and I'm doing a half hour, I could do 20 of it as new.
Got you.
And then my hour becomes a little bit more compact eventually. And hopefully by September, that'll all be in place. But, you know, I don't know. It's all a fucking slog, dude. I'm trying to sit here and explain it, but it's probably not coming out in a very...
No, it is actually. It really is, because the thing that I noticed about you is it made me kind of sit down and say, you need to write more. You need to get funnier, because here is Josh, and Josh has been doing this longer than you have. You're better at it than I am. I'm not happy about that. I'm not kissing your ass. I've come here to kill you, is what I'm saying.
That's fine, please.
No, you're
I think I just took extends for nothing.
What's that?
No, I didn't. But no, you're paying me a compliment, and I'm over here worrying about
it's a comic thing. Trust me, it happened with Luke Allen. It'll happen with other comics that are like this. Anyways, the point is seeing how hard you work and how you are, like I said, you have no problem waiting in line.
No, I mean, where am I going? I don't have it. That's the thing. Like, that's the whole thing in this whole comedy game. I never cared about waiting in line. I've never wanted things fast. And, like, I do want things. I'm not going to say that, because I know people that are lazy and they just kind of, like, are passive about their careers. And that's not me. But at the same time, I'm fine with, like, doing the work part of it. That's all I really want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get better, and someday they'll fuck with me, and then I'll be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I always looked at it.
I promise you, the last compliment, that is the compliment that you taught me. It wasn't necessarily, oh, you're really funny, I like you. No, it wasn't that. What it was this guy's hilarious, yet he doesn't mind putting in the work. And
what else is there?
You taught me. You taught me to be patient, though, in a sense of like, hey, you know what? It's not a fucking race, because you can go into the fourth wall and do a set that will fucking crush. That's when we have, whatever show is going on, right, where we have bodies in there, and it's like, fuck me, Josh crushes. Just kill, but you legitimately crush.
Well, thank you.
And the thing of it, though, is it's like, okay, here's this guy who could easily go to the Comedy Store, and he would benefit from getting those 15-minute spots, because that's going to help him on his road work, and he's not there yet. And I never hear you bitch about it, Josh.
No, I mean, I can't. I mean, what's there to bitch about? I mean, like, name one person on those Comedy Store lineups that I should be ahead of, and there's not a thing. Like, I don't understand wasting energy on worrying about, like, this guy's this guy's there, what the fuck is this guy on there for? It's stupid. And that's not like me being like some sort of fucking pious guy. It's just like I don't have enough fucking bandwidth to fucking care about that and myself, and do my fucking shit and write jokes and stuff. And it's like, if you just write the jokes and get left, I've gotten things in my life from just doing that part of it, and that's all I feel like you need to do. You got to go to this place and show your face, or go to there, or whatever. There's that aspect of things, but it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to jump ahead of anybody because I'm complaining. That doesn't do anything. Like, I know it's fucking stupid to say, probably, or cliche or whatever, but it's like, there's no sense in it. And it's like, it's just gross to me, to be quite honest with you. Like, I hear people doing it literally all the time. And it's one thing to be like, to, just be fun and gossip or whatever, but it's another thing to be like jealous and worry about what this guy's getting or what that guy's getting. You should be excited when you see somebody that you think is worse than you getting stuff. It should excite you. It shouldn't fucking make you mad.
Why excite you?
It should excite you because you know it's achievable. You know what I mean? I've seen people, that's actually how I've gotten certain things in my life. I saw people where I go, well, that guy got on there? Well, shit, I guess it's more achievable than I thought it was. And then I went after it, and then it worked. You know what I mean? Then I got it. And that's happened like 3 or 4 times, like on terms of like in benchmarks in my life. And I was never jealous of those people. I just go, well, like, I'm as good as that guy. If he can do it, then I can do it,
Yeah, so it actually encouraged you.
Yeah. I've never thought about it in terms of a jealousy thing. And some people will get encouraged by their jealousy. I mean, everybody's different, but I've seen people like poison their brains by getting like angry about shit they can't control, this guy got this, and then they like are defeated and whatever. They complain about it for fucking months, and you're like, well, what were you doing these last like 4 months other than complaining about Brian or whatever, you know? You didn't do shit.
Yeah. Again, dude, I think that's what was so encouraging and what was inspiring is when I really did get to know you, it was like, this guy never talks shit on other people's success.
I'm going to talk shit sometimes. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like about success. Like, I don't talk shit about a successful guy like this fucking guy. Anybody who achieves a level of success, which in my opinion, this is just me, is money. Anybody who's making money in this, I respect to a certain level, you know? Pretty much, literally everybody. Name the hackiest guy making $1 bazillion selling tickets. I'll respect that motherfucker because he's selling tickets. And it's like, you think you're so brilliant? Well, then sell a fucking ticket. Because it doesn't mean shit. None of it means anything until you sell some fucking tickets.
But along with this, though, you write fucking hilarious jokes. So
thank you.
That's what gets me is, like
I fear every day is the last one. I'm like, don't you ever feel that way? I feel like the well is dry. I'm never going to write a joke again. Sometimes I really feel that way. People who complain and they bitch and they moan and they stuff like that. But like, and I'm not saying I don't do those things. I complain plenty, you know. Internally, but I mean, what benefit does it have for us to just sit outside and have a bitch fest about, isn't fucking this guy a hack? Why is he getting this? You know, it's like,
well, that's what's fun about, like I said,
if he's such a hack, we should be doing the same thing.
Yeah. What I love about hanging out with you and bullshitting with you is we never shit on a comic for a jealous reason.
Right.
It's always about how can we make each other laugh.
Yes.
And that is where
I'll tell you this, so I don't seem like I said like a pious piece of shit. I'll shit on a comic who wastes my time. And by that, I mean, is just like, because everybody's doing this thing and they're all trying and like, but some of them aren't trying. And it's like, what are you doing? Just go away. That's the only people I'll shit on. You know what I mean? Like the people that are just like, you know, they're just wasting everyone's time.
Even the attempt is not even a full attempt.
There is no attempt. It's just like, it's like a attention seeking thing. And that kind of thing. But that's an open mic thing, you know? And hopefully, you know, one day you want to aspire to not be in those anymore. Like I want to, you know, people say like, oh, you get to the point where you can't go to an open mic anymore because you don't want to like have the bad habits. I haven't gotten there yet. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm going to find out next week when I'm on the road for a week that I will have all these bad habits accumulate over the last 3 months of me just hanging out of the fourth wall and doing bar shows once in a while. I did like 2 sets at clubs or 3 or something, like 2 or 3 in the last 3 months. But it was more like write and go to the fourth wall and just like try and get this 20 minutes written. And so, I mean, hey, I could have so much rust on me when I go out there next week, you know? I don't know until I'll do it.
Damn, so we're going to have to call you on the road.
It's fine. I'll be lonely, so hit me up. So I'm trying to get it in right now tonight before I get out there, you know? Got fucking 8 days. Along the road, a highway. What's that song? East of Omaha. What's that? Oh, it's
Bob
Metallica.
Seger.
Oh, yeah, Bob Seger.
Metallica.
I don't even know why I was singing that song.
Well, no, you're right, though. They did a cover of it.
On the road again. Yeah, I was more thinking of like, I'm a highwayman. On the ghost road.
Dude, I long to know what it's feel like to be lonely on the road. I long to know that
I
feeling.
love it. I really do. And I'm sitting here singing these little songs, and I'm like sitting here like drinking this rum, and I'm like, God, I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yeah,
I love it, dude.
I know comics talk about being burned out on the road.
Man.
I want to know what that feeling is like.
I want to get burned out. I want to be booked 52 weeks a year for like 4 years, and then I wake up and I go, I guess I am going to die alone. I want that. I want desperately to one day just like wake up in a hotel room and just be like, where am I? What city is this? Yeah, I can't wait. That's what I want more than anything in the world, is to have that feeling.
I heard, I can't remember what podcast it was. David Tell was talking about the dream is that someday they call your mother and they say, Mrs. Tell, We found Dave.
Oh my god,
dead.
I'm gonna definitely die in a hotel room.
We found Dave.
That's
dead.
my dream.
We found out he was dead when he didn't turn the Chuckle Hut in Frog Balls, Arkansas.
That's what I mean. I often think if I'm not on the road and I die, it'll take weeks for my mom to find out because I'm like kind of a recluse anyway, and it would just be like, I don't even know really what would have to happen for someone to go like, "Where's Josh?" I mean, now I guess I'm employed by the studio, so they'll probably wonder after a couple of days.
Show up for work? Yeah,
after a couple of days. But there's sometimes, I mean, like, shit, a week could go by. My roommates will smell me by something.
I was going to say, there's just a smell. There's a
the roommates will smell me. That's true.
Not even the roommates. I mean, like, somebody that doesn't speak good English on the subway.
Oh, if I die on the subway?
What is that?
That'd be great if I died on the subway.
What is that smell?
Where's one place you wouldn't want to die?
I almost said Bert's back room.
That's a good one. I kind of want to die there, though.
That would be very supportive.
I don't care. So many ladies.
Yeah,
was that problematic of me? I'm sorry. I'd never go there. I just see those lineups and I'm like, good golly, I kind of want to go there. It's just in West Hollywood, it's tough for me to get to. Otherwise, I'd go there because, dude, I mean, you don't know this feeling, but I am incentivized to do well when it's a crowd of women.
Really?
Yeah, I want to kill in front of women
I don't
than
think
anything.
That's bad though,
because I want them to want to sleep with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying any of you ladies that go to Bert's will ever want to do that. It's not what this is about. I'm saying that it's just when I perform and there's a woman in the crowd, you know, like typically at a club or something, there's more than one, not just, you know, we're not talking fourth wall here. You know, it's fun. It's fun to get the, like, you're funny afterwards, you know, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I live for. Because I'm not attractive and I'm not good with girls. And when you do that, you all of a sudden you become good with girls. It's like having a guitar or some shit.
I was going to say. I love that you'll make a point and then you'll wash it down with some rum.
I got to drink it sometime. I hope I had more Coca-Cola than rum. I think I did, yeah.
How long have you known Mark Norman?
I worked with Mark on New Year's Eve in 2015.
God, you kind of know everybody, though.
I've been doing clubs for a while.
So 2015?
Yeah, I did. We did New Year's Eve together, and then we hung out, and we went to bars and stuff, and exchanged numbers or whatever. And then, because he's a New York comic, obviously, Mark Norman, if you don't know. And my best friend, Matt Wayne, is a New York comic. And him and I, well, he started in like the year 2000, and I started in the year 2008. So Matt moved to New York in 2009 after being like kind of like my buddy in comedy in Buffalo. And we're best friends. He moved to New York. I'd go visit him. So Mark knew Matt, and we became like a circle of trust. And so eventually, like, I worked with Mark again one more time. And then, you know, we'd see each other every now and then. Like this past February, I had shows in San Francisco, and he was at the Punchline in San Francisco, and we just like hung out the whole weekend. It was fun. So I love that guy.
Yeah, it was cool. He had some awesome stuff to say about you.
Yeah, I love hanging out with him, and I hope he likes hanging out with me too.
Yeah. One thing we talked about, and I'll wrap this up here. I've had 2 guests on this show. You're the third.
Cool.
And one of the things that we've talked about is comedy in New York versus L.A.
Yeah. I have opinions on that.
You told me something really interesting one night, though, outside Fourth Wall.
Mm-hmm.
You said, for as great as New York is, people shouldn't shit on L.A. as much as they do in terms of
I don't think so.
sets.
Here's the thing I think about when it comes to New York versus L.A., most of all, right now, in the present day. Like, everyone, the gripe is that in New York you can get so many more sets. It's grittier, and the comics are higher caliber, so you learn more from those comics. But I think things have shifted, honestly, in the last maybe even 5 years, as little as that. Because look at all the comics in the store right now. So many of them are big ticket comics, huge ticket like theaters, arenas. Some of them, Sebastian's, like fucking. I mean, shit. But and there are plenty of New York guys. I mean, like Dave Attell, like the old cellar hang table or whatever. That shit's over. That shit's done, and because the cellar isn't the same thing as it used to be. And I'm not like. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on the seller, but like when all that shit with Louis happened and they caught themselves backpedaling, and now they put up posters that are like, if you're offended, you get a refund, and here's who's here. Like, if there's a drop in that you're offended by, blah, blah, blah. Do you think the store is going to give a shit if someone's offended? Never. Never. The store would tell you to go fuck yourself. Or maybe they do a little more politically, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, look at what savages are going up at the store, and people are buying tickets in droves.
Yep.
The thing is sold out every fucking second of every day. And I got to tell you, the seller's not, I don't think the seller's doing great, but I don't think they're doing as well as the store, you know? And I don't think they have the same level of comics at the seller that they do at the store. And I think those two beacons are proof in themselves. Like, maybe that was different 10 years ago, which I guarantee it was, because if you look at the store in the early 2000s, it was a fucking ghost town. But the cellar was popping off, obviously. Everyone was going there, you know? Things have shifted.
Do you think it goes in waves?
Of course. Everything changes, and some things stay the same. But, like, everything fluctuates. And right now, I think LA is just, because of the whole... And everyone says this about LA. They're so PC, blah, blah, blah. And that's... Look at New York, man. Where are all the blogs coming out of about people being offended about comedians? It's all in New York. And sure, LA has its alt scene, but they kind of keep to themselves. They don't really fuck with the clubs, you know?
Yeah.
And they also kind of like do their own bar shows and things like that. There's really, like, sure, are there PC, whatever, police out here? Sure, of course. They're everywhere right now. It's 2019. But I think there are more in New York than there are in LA at this moment, based off the successful comics that are selling tickets.
What about all the sets that they say you can get?
But who cares about those? Like, I mean, how many of them are good? You know? How many of them are productive? If you can do...
You say, yeah, I can do 6 sets in a night.
Yeah, but like 3 of them are in a pizza place, and like, you know what I mean? It's fucking brutal. It's like, if you're just a good worker, you can find benefit in the few sets you get. And sure, and like, I know that numbers mean a thing. Like I said this when I met, I'm not trying to name drop here, I met Michael Shea in passing. He did a weekend in Buffalo, and I got to like guest set on those shows. And I just talked to him, and we had been doing comedy the same amount of time when he was headlining that show, the club, and I was getting guest sets trying to like work there more. You know what I mean? So I asked myself, or I asked him even, I'm like trying to think of like, what's the difference between us? And it's because I was doing 2 sets a week in Buffalo, and he was doing 4 sets a night in New York City. It's just more trips around the sun, you know, or around the fucking, around the sun. Yeah. More orbits. And that's fine. The more you do, the more benefit it can build and stuff, but it takes a special person. There could also be a person who does that many sets and gets nothing out of it. And then there could be a person who does 1 set a week for 2 years and gets a lot out of it. And then there could be a person that does nothing. So it's all the individual. It's how you address things. And I think there's plenty of sets in LA compared to a small town, you know. And so I grew up in a place where there was very few sets, and you had to make what you can out of them. And I feel like, well, coming from there, LA looks like a fucking buffet of sets, you know. And so, yeah, New York may be more, but that doesn't mean that LA doesn't have enough, you know, to like do something.
I wonder why they love to shit on LA versus New York.
It's just part of the fucking thing, you know. It's just what it is. It's like it's a indentured thing. Like in the early 2000s, they were right. When Tough Crowd was a thing, they were right. You know what I'm saying? Like when those guys were at the top of the mountain, they were right. It's different now. You know? It's just the coin is flipped. In my opinion. You know, there's still plenty of great New York comics, and it's still a top scene for sure, 100%. Yeah. But I'm not degrading it in that way. I just
you're not shitting. You're not shitting on New York. What I was asking you specifically was, it's just like, why do they shit on LA? And I think so too.
I think it's misguided at this point.
Like I said, I remember doing New York theater, and obviously it's different because it's obviously not stand-up, but in New York, I remember being happy because I learned discipline. I remember the grind, though, that it was just to fucking live in New York.
Well, they're like masochists in that way. Because that's the thing. Like, I was going to go to New York up until I had the opportunity to come here. And I never considered coming here until it was on the table.
The work.
It was literally
a job that brought you out
months
here.
before I came here that I've never even been here more than 48 hours before that. And I was in New York, and the thing that stopped me every time was like the grind of it. And it's not like I don't want to work hard in comedy or whatever. It's literally everything else. It's the living situation. It's like it's more expensive. It's a fucking concrete jungle with a human filing cabinet that you live in, where people live above you and below you and aside from you. You're never more than 15 feet away from another human body in that fucking city, and that shit drives me nuts. And the hive of people everywhere, the buzz of them, it would make me crazy, and I hated it. I hated going there. I like visiting friends or whatever, but I just didn't. I was like, I could never live here. I never could feel like I could do it. And then when I came here, I was like, this is nice. Why don't people live here? And then I was like, oh yeah, there's like 50 billion people that live here, but I don't know.
I loved both. I really did. What annoyed me was people saw L.A. as the big evil in New York. That's where people go if they want money.
Yeah,
and it's like,
who doesn't want
what the fuck
fucking
is
money?
the matter with that?
Yeah, I never get that either. I never heard that argument, but I've heard like the whole like they're too PC. This is where the gritty things happen, and it's not that way anymore, dude.
Yeah,
it's not that way. You hear to these New York comics, they're all fucking triggered. You know, the guys that are doing, edgier stuff or whatever, they're all like, oh, I can't, I got moans and groans from the audience in the comedy cellar. You know what I mean? Like in fucking Carolines and stuff. It's like, come out here, dude. That's not happening.
What comic have you seen kill the hardest?
I saw John Mulaney at the club in Buffalo just bring the fucking roof in.
Really?
And that's not like John Mulaney and I are not the same at all. Like, I don't look to him as like a inspiration or anything like that, but I saw the guy fucking murder a fucking club like I've never seen before. Joey Diaz murders clubs every fucking time. Joey Diaz murders everything, but I've seen him murder in a way that's like I don't even know that I'll ever be able to conjure that sound. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, there's so many dudes. Sebastian. I watched Sebastian, Sebastian came to Helium in Buffalo in like 2013, like 4 times in a year, I want to say, and sold out like 1,000 shows. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. And that guy always, like, if I were to write his jokes on a piece of paper and like say them to myself, I would think this is just dog shit. But the way he does it, it makes me laugh out loud, where I like tell my dad about, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so wild. And I hope that doesn't come off as like me shitting on his writing or something, but the way he performs some shit, I can never fucking do that. And he's so fucking good, dude. It's crazy.
I gotta say though, you have a joke about your dad that fucking crushes. And that also brings me to the end of this thing.
I have a whole thing about my dad.
I was gonna say,
like
where can people see you, Josh? You got some shows coming up.
You mean like shows? I'm like, you mean like my dates? I don't know when this comes out, but I will be not doing anything until September. I'm going to Seattle on September 5th. I'm playing at Chop Suey, and then the next day I go to Tacoma, and I play at a place called Alma Mater on September 6th, and then September 8th I perform in Portland at a place called Mississippi Studios. And until then, you can see me around and about here in Los Angeles. Actually, I'm going on the road next week, but you don't need to know about those ones. So yeah, I don't know. Just fucking look on my Twitter and come hang out, and we'll make out and stuff.
Hell yeah, we'll touch boners with the extends.
Yeah. I hope those work.
It will. Josh, thanks for being on, man. I love you.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Sorry if I rambled about stuff.
No, you didn't ramble.
I got high and I drink and extends. And
how's that bourbon? Or excuse me, how's the rum?
it's good.
Say you might lose your mind if you don't find no time to lose. Yo, fucking my and just have a good time. Even have a real good time.
Alrighty, that was Josh Potter. Hilarious, right? I'm telling you guys, that guy's gonna be a big star someday. Anyways, again, look him up at Twitter. He is at J_Potter, Potter. You can also catch him on Your Mom's House. If he's coming to your town, guys, don't sleep on it. I'm telling you, you gotta see him. Just look him up on Twitter. Look him up. You won't regret it. Anyways, thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week, guys. Take care.
Money's out of downtown. Maxwell House is going down by the railroad tracks. Mama broke